rescue Miss Eto, that's all.
Sayakuto is an idiot loser on his way to his very first day at a new high school. Stepping out onto the platform, he makes his way up the stairs. Just then, a pretty young girl blasts past him and grants him a lovely view of her cheeks.
What?
What a start to the day. Wait, was that a rope G-string? While trying to process the blessing he just received, Sai hears an old lady having trouble. He turns around and tries to help her. Once he's done getting her luggage sorted, though, he gets into a tug-of-war match with her over whether he can help her more or not. Unfortunately for him, the girl from earlier spots them and proceeds to kick him in the teeth. Worth it for that heavenly view, I'd say. After the old lady explains to her apparent granddaughter what actually happened, she bows to Sai in apology. Looks like we've got a tsundere on our hands. The girl, Hattori, then gets on the next train with Sai after learning he's a transfer student to her school, the Academy of Magical Arts. On the train, they talk more, and the girl learns that Sai has a really good heart and wants to become a high priest, a powerful position in their society that lets you influence the system. Being from the Suharist sect, sworn to serve and protect the Empire, Hattori's pretty impressed and tells Sai to grab her sword. No, not that kind. This is a tradition of her clans to declare friendship. Once they reach the academy, Hattori tries to give Sai a tour of the place's fustercluck of a layout, fails, and ditches him. From there, the guy heads to the nurse's office like Hattori told him to, though it's really more of a whole building. Here, finally, we meet the first MILF of the show. Nurse MILF, Sumi. Her name ain't exactly what I'm focused on right now. With Sai in tow, Nurse MILF heads to a hall where the transfer students for the year will be tested. With a cheap knockoff of the sorting hat from Harry Potter, this thing can check a student's physical health and predict their future job. We're not here for the scrubs, though. So skip. Now, in his turn, Sai approaches the bird and makes contact so it can read him like a book. When Sai touches the bird, though, it looks like it just crapped itself. After gathering its wits, the bird hesitantly calls out Sai's future job, Demon Lord. In disbelief, Nurse MILF rechecks multiple times, only for the bird to keep confirming it. Sai is destined to be the Demon Lord of Destruction. As the students in the hall run around like headless chickens, Sai thinks back to his history lessons. The last Demon Lord from a century ago was a rebel, bent on tearing down the system and drowning the world in chaos. Not the kind of guy you want to be associated with. Afterwards, as Nurse MILF walks Sai to his assigned classroom, she warns him about how people are probably going to target him now. Whether in the form of assassination attempts or bullying, he should be ready, or not. If he dies, she can just turn him into an undead and study his body.
Oh, hell no!
Yup, she's insane. As soon as they enter the classroom, which Nurse MILF happens to be the homeroom teacher of, the students start panicking. Seeing this as his chance to clear things up, Sai goes to the front of the class and launches into an improvised speech. Unfortunately for him, his introduction of himself as someone who wants to change the system is immediately taken the wrong way. After all, if you squint your eyes enough and turn off your brain, that's kind of what the last Demon Lord wanted to do. The only person not cowering away from Sai at this point is a twink who's fanboying over him, and Hattori, who just looks mad. Later, after Nurse MILF manages to restore order, Sai's seated in the back of the class. Then, the teacher brings up the topic of electing a class president. While everyone's cool with Hattori keeping the position from last year, the fanboy decides to open his mouth and nominates Sai. Sai, on the other hand, declares he doesn't deserve that position as a newbie and volunteers for cleaning duty instead. Surely that'll show people he's a good guy, right? Nope. Apparently, cleaning duty in this place is code for the Academy's personal Black Ops agent who'll destroy anyone and anything. Finally, having had enough, Hattori rises from her seat and aggressively confronts Sai for toying with her and her feelings. Lady chill, y'all met like 3 hours ago. Unfortunately for Sai, not only do her words spread more rumors about him, she then proceeds to challenge him to a duel. Apparently, that's just a thing she can do in school since she's from the Suharist sect. Because reasons. As the duel begins, Sai decides to enter a grappling match with Hattori.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP!
Holding her still, he tries to explain all the day's misunderstandings to her. Unfortunately, she doesn't appreciate their current position. Pushing him away, Hattori brings her sword down, forcing Sai to grab it in defense. Then, surprising even him, his arm alone goes Super Saiyan and blows up the whole classroom. The result of this is one hell of an outfit change for Nurse Milf and Hattori. That evening, Sai arrives at the boys' dorm, where he's greeted by his fanboy, Hiroshi. Deciding to put the boy's devotion to some actual use, he asks him how to visit the girls' dorm so he can talk to Hattori. Completely misunderstanding his intentions, Hiroshi leads him to the back of the dorms and tells him to use a special knock on Hattori's window. There's no way this could go wrong. Unknown to Sai, Hattori's currently in fan service form in her room, letting her injuries breathe, while she thinks back to how he grappled her earlier. When she hears the special knock on her window, which is actually meant for lovers sneaking around to identify each other, she heads over to it. As soon as she sees Sai, the girl is infuriated. She slams open her window, greeting Sai with an upskirt shot of her hoo-ha and barely covered tatas, since she's only wearing a bathrobe. As Sai desperately tries to defuse the situation, Hattori proceeds to attack and chase him all over the school grounds. Eventually, they end up in the nearby forest where Sai runs into yet another insane chick. Except this one's a whole different kind of insane, greeting him with a crotch shot and a smile as she rambles about protecting her prince. As the delusional redhead keeps talking, the half-clothed swordswoman catches up to Sai. I gotta say, these camera angles are phenomenal. With the redhead standing to defend Sai and pulling out a weird wand, Hattori only gets angrier. As she rages over Sai presumably being a playboy, the goods find themselves jiggling all over the place. Since neither girl is backing off, they end up in a fight which has Hattori's habibis multiplying when she clones herself. With double the bouncy trouble on scene, the redhead decides to forget about the fight and protect Sai, with some protective padding. Her honkers. She shoves him into her honkers. Badonkers even.
Yeah, boy.
Spurred on by fear, instinct, and probably badly timed wood, Sai proceeds to destroy the whole section of forest they're in with an accidental energy blast. The fight over, Sai finds himself victim to the redhead's nonsensical rambling and is treated to a view of Hattori in fan service form yet again. Before he can even begin to store that memory away for posterity, a portal appears out of thin air and spits out yet another girl. The broccoli head introduces herself as an observer named Korone, here for Sai. Man, being Demon Lord can't be that bad if he's getting this much tail. Before moving any further with the story, we're suddenly thrown into a flashback of the past. Years ago, in an orphanage of the church, a red-headed young girl can be seen crying her eyes out. To comfort her, a brown-haired boy gifts her a bird-shaped ring and some words of encouragement. I wonder who that was. Back in the present, Sai finds out Korone is an android and watches in wonder as she magically heals Hattori's injuries. As soon as the unconscious girl wakes up, though, she blushes furiously and runs away before Sai can talk to her. Still just half a strong breeze away from being back in her birthday suit. Before Sai can give chase, because that wouldn't be a bad look at all, Korone stops him. She tells him she's been assigned to watch him by the Godma Act and needs to interrogate him in the headmaster's office. As soon as she says that, the redhead freaks out and suddenly disappears. Only she leaves her underwear and clothes on the scene. And Sai, being the simpleton he is, decides to check out her boulder holders while Korone watches. At the same time, another voice screams out in embarrassment at what he's doing. But all Sai can see is a bird-shaped ring quickly floating away from him. I wonder who that is. Upon Sai's asking, Korone identifies the redhead as Soga Kina, from the same class as him. Later at the headmaster's office, Korone and the old dude that runs the academy have some fun messing with him. After that, though, they tell him he's off the hook, since he didn't purposefully cause any trouble. Still, though, Korone's going to be watching him like a hawk 24/7 from now on. Outside the office, Nurse Milf tells Sai it's more for his own protection than anything, since students may try to attack the future Demon Lord. Then, after taking a seat in another room, Sai tells Nurse Milf about his recent power bursts in detail. Like in class, he just suddenly felt this huge burning lump of power in his hand, and then it exploded. That's what she said. Sorry, had to do it. After identifying that Sai's problem is too much power with too little control, Nurse Milf hands him a standard-issue student handbook. With this, he can telepathically communicate with any other student at the school, kind of like a phone. That night, Sai's in his room trying to go to sleep when he realizes Korone is going to keep watching him. In an attempt to make things less weird, he tells Korone to go to sleep too. The second he turns around, Korone plops down onto his bed as well, suddenly in nothing more than a loose open shirt and her little chonies. Of course, since Sai is still an awkward dweeb, he tells Korone to sleep somewhere else. As a result, she ends up in his closet, peeking out all creepy-like, purely to annoy him. The next morning, Sai's walking across the academy grounds with Korone and a hyperactive Hiroshi when they're greeted by the local mini-MILF, Fujiko Eto, the head of the girls' dorm. To Sai's delight, she's the first person in school who actually acknowledges him as his true self, instead of the whole demon lord crap. Returning to class, but with Korone at his side, his image takes yet another hit. After class, Sai hides out in the bathroom and calls Fujiko through the handbook. On the other end of the call, Fujiko's in the middle of changing uniforms when her handbook rings. After answering the call, Fujiko listens to Sai as he requests her to set up a meeting between him and Hattori to clear things up. Animators knew exactly what they were doing with the slow pan here. While Fujiko tells Sai to meet her alone at the Black Mountains, Korone is busy inspecting all the meat in the boys' room. Knowing that Korone won't leave him alone, Fujiko tells Sai he can deactivate her by pulling her tail. Could have swore she was an android, not a Raditz. Later, Sai decides to head to the Black Mountains during lunch. As usual, though, everyone goes to the most perverted conclusion, which is that he's going to do the deed with Korone. Of course, her and Hiroshi's loud proclamations don't help with that either. On their way to the Black Mountains, Sai does his best to try and find Korone's tail by peeking up her skirt with the desperation of a hentai character. Strangely enough, he's knocked to the ground in the middle of that by an invisible hand wearing a bird ring. As Korone sees what he is doing and accuses him of being a pervert, yet she somehow manages to flash Sai completely and reveals the tail he was looking for. Because plot. Luckily, or maybe not, the topic is changed when a giant demon dog suddenly appears and attacks them. While explaining that this beast has been transformed by excess mana, Korone shoots it. When that does nothing, she's saved by Sai pushing her out of the dog's path. As he clings to the beast's mane, he tells Korone to wait and plants a glowing hand on the dog. The next thing any of them know, the place erupts in dust and a blinding light. Once everything clears up, Sai can be seen holding an adorable puppy in his arms. Without even realizing he's done the impossible, Sai explains he just sucked the mana out of the little guy. In the middle of Korone thanking Sai for saving her, the puppy suddenly rushes off into a bush and attacks someone. Hearing a familiar voice, Sai rushes over to find, oh, it's Kina, and definitely not following the academy dress code. Panicking at Sai seeing her, the exposed redhead runs away screaming as she becomes invisible. While confirming that this strange ability even hides her mana, Korone goes to investigate the bag Kina left behind. In the process, though, she flashes Sai yet again, and this time, he gets a perfect look at her booty. Her tail. Sai rushes forward and pulls the thing before he misses this chance, and Korone shuts right down. While Sai's sitting there staring up at Korone's cheeks, Fujiko shows up with zero warning. As he scrambles to explain his current position to the girl, Fujiko just smiles and tells him he can reactivate Korone by pulling the tail again later. Then, as they discuss how to get Sai a meeting with Hattori, Fujiko offers him a spot on the disciplinary committee to improve his reputation. Before they part ways, Fujiko also offers him a couple of tablets and a strange gun, saying that if he shoots Hattori and himself with these, then they'll be able to understand each other. Once Fujiko leaves, Sai goes ahead and reactivates Korone, and definitely doesn't enjoy doing that. After the obligatory accusation of being a pervert, Korone tells Sai that the bag in front of them is Kina's. Just then, they hear the girl screaming out yet again, being chased by the puppy from before. Finally, Sai spots the bird ring on her and realizes that he knows Kina. All those years ago, he was the one who gave it to her. Shock. I'm so surprised. After chasing after her for a while, Sai suddenly gets run into by her instead, and they fall to the ground. As they lie there, Kina's invisibility wearing off and exposing her completely, the disrobed redhead shoves Sai's face into her giant jawbreakers. I mean, she can't let him see the rest of her after all. This is the scene Kuroni comes upon with a completely unimpressed expression. After handing Kina her uniform, Kuroni threatens to report Sai for what was obviously him assaulting the girl. Luckily, Kina's pretty keen on the guy herself, so she makes a deal to tell Kuroni the truth and get him off the hook. His side of the deal? An eyeful of Kina's crotch, and a promise to be friends with her. That night, Hattori gets a call from Fujiko, who relays a completely fake version of the day's events to her. She tells Hattori that Sai forced her to set up a meeting between them. Not wanting to cause trouble for Fujiko, Hattori accepts. Meanwhile, the purple-haired psycho steps into a secret room in her dorm while getting out of her uniform. Clad in only her bare necessities, she talks to a severed head in a jar, vowing to make the demon lord her slave. Then, surprisingly, she brings up the jar and kisses it while revealing that this is her brother.
What the fuck?
If ever someone's needed therapy, it's these two. Now it's flashback time. Years ago, back when she was still a kid, we watched Fujiko playing with her brother. What a nice, wholesome family. Surely nothing bad will happen, huh? As Fujiko cries over her brother's coffin, their mom tells her he died for failing a mission. Now, she has to be strong as the new Eto family head in his place. Mom of the year right here. Back in the present, we see Fujiko plotting in the secret room with her brother, in her birthday suit. Again, kind of an Alabama thing going on here. Meanwhile, Sai and Hiroshi are chilling in the public bath at their dorm. While they're in there, Hiroshi ends up explaining the school's main factions. The underground made up of students who secretly practice black magic, and the general public. While the underground's leader isn't openly known, the public leader is Hattori, which makes his recent actions even worse. As Hiroshi's leaving, he runs into Kuroni, who proceeds to point out the dude's shrimp eenies. Thus, Sai is put into the awkward position of explaining why dudes care how big their wiener is, and why he's not going to show her his. After that mini disaster, Sai gets a call from Fujiko about meeting with Hattori. She tells him she's arranged something after school tomorrow at the level 3 basement of their barracks. The next day at school, Sai meets the student council to start his duties as a disciplinary committee member. Say hello to Hat Loli, a fake Sakura, Cat Loli, and Honkers McGee. Four Eyes. Before he leaves, Hat Loli explains that, as a disciplinary committee member, he'll be a target for all the school's troublemakers. Later, during a class on magic and mana theory, Sai thinks about how Fujiko never mentioned this side of being a DC member. More importantly, how's he gonna ditch Kurone tonight to meet Hattori? That evening, Sai loads up the gun Fujiko gave him as a backup and gets ready. Kurone, who's lying on her belly with her skirt creeping up, he tries to make his move. Taking a seat on the bed, he inches his hand slowly under her skirt, only for Kina to suddenly interrupt with a knock on his window. And so for the next God knows how long, Sai has to enjoy the company of a hot redhead happily rambling about how amazing rice is. It should have been me, not him. Eventually, after talking Kurone down from using a freaking bazooka for Kina's dreams of Rice World peace, Sai hints at being kinda busy. Kina takes the hint, but the completely wrong way, believing Sai wants to get busy with Kurone in peace. And so she flies off out of Sai's window, completely unaware that she's flashing her big bakery of a backside to the whole world. Playing into Kina's misunderstanding, Kurone proceeds to lay herself out on Sai's bed. Despite his initial outrage, Sai realizes this is the perfect opportunity. Slowly, he reaches his hand into her skirt to pull her tail. However, he instead grabs her cheeks by accident. Yeah, accident. Sure, pal. After getting over that, he yanks her tail, knocks her out, and runs off. Shortly after, Sai arrives at the barracks Fujiko mentioned and wanders through the interior. As weird as the place is, Sai's caught completely off guard when suddenly he's ambushed by some delinquent students. He's not a future demon lord for nothing, though. Quickly making use of what he learned in today's mana theory class, Sai manages to push them away. Then, manipulating the mana in the air directly, he destroys one thug's arm and puts up a shield as the rest of them shoot at him. Though he's perfectly fine dealing with this consequence of his new post on the disciplinary committee, the thugs go too far. They reveal a terribly beaten Hiroshi, who they intend to use as a hostage. With pure ice-cold rage settling into his veins, Sai smirks at the thugs and breaks legs on two of them by just pointing his finger. Facing the leader, he admits even he's surprised by how calm and unbothered he is by his violent actions. For what he's done to Hiroshi, though, he's going to make an example of the leader, right here and now. The leader whips out a chain at Sai, but the boy just freezes it, electrifies it, and launches him into a wall. There, he mutilates the boy's leg. Before he can go any further, though, someone new shows up. Hattori comes onto the scene at the worst possible moment, and now she's convinced Sai's trying to gain followers for his plan of world domination. Because plot. Unable to convince her, Sai prepares to use the tablets Fujiko gave him. Instead, he finds the gun empty. Hattori doesn't realize it's empty, though, so she retreats with a promise to rally the public against his evil. Unknown to any of them, Fujiko's watching everything through a crystal ball and is confused about the drug's disappearance, too. Also, she's not wearing anything, still, in front of her brother. As if that wasn't bad enough, she then starts fiddling her nub over how violent Sai was earlier, still in front of Head in a Jar. Get some help. Back at his dorm, Sai's reactivated Koroni and had her treat Hiroshi after explaining what happened. To take responsibility for his actions, he went to see Nurse MILF. Rather than offering any help, though, the psychotic teacher just told him Hattori's public call to arms against him is totally allowed. Because plot. Meanwhile, Hattori's in her dorm, sharpening her katana, in nothing but bandage bindings. Why? I mean, not that I'm complaining. In the middle of this, she actually finds herself wishing she could get along with Sai. She banishes those thoughts quickly, though, distracted by the feeling of being watched. The next day, at exactly 4 p.m., Sai marches outside and stands tall before the mob that's been given an hour to punish him within school rules. When Hiroshi shows up to offer support, Sai tells him he's just going to run around for an hour without hurting anyone. As the clock strikes 4, the students launch a barrage of ranged attacks their way. Quickly, Sai pushes Hiroshi away and flees from the students. After leading them on a chase all over the grounds, Sai is forced into a one-on-one with Hattori. Despite his hesitation, Hattori charges at him and manages to get some slashes in while he only dodges. With his back literally against the wall, Sai again tries to explain that everything Hattori thinks about him is a misunderstanding. Even still, she refuses to believe him and brings her blade up for a final slash. This, however, is brought to an abrupt stop with the arrival of everyone's favorite redhead. Forcing herself onto the scene, Kina calls them both out for being stupid when they actually like each other. Despite Hattori denying this with a fierce blush, the students have already latched onto Kina's words. Convinced that Hattori just used them for a lover's quarrel against Sai, they prepare to attack both of them now. Realizing she's been acting just like that towards Sai, Hattori now stands with him. Together, they prepare to fight the students and rush forward. Unfortunately for everyone, Kina suddenly calls for Koroni to fire, revealing the android on standby with her big bazooka. As Koroni shoots the thing, Sai panics and puts up a mana shield to protect everyone. When the blast hits, though, it's revealed the bazooka shot was made of rice. Somehow, Kina's plan for peace through rice has actually worked, because everyone outside Sai's shield is on their knees smiling like lunatics. Later at Sai's dorm, Kina admits that she stole Sai's pink tablets. She diluted them into the bazooka rice, believing it would help everyone get along better, like Fujiko said. A quick analysis from Koron reveals something much darker, though. The tablets are a form of black magic used to force the consumer's loyalty and love to a specific person. Luckily, since everyone had such a diluted dose of it, it should only last about half a day. While the airheaded rice girl comments on how Fujiko must really want to get along with people, Sai realized the truth. Meanwhile, over at the girls' dorm, Fujiko's dealing with the consequences of her own actions. Trapped in the throes of passion caused by her drug, a large chunk of the female student population is now holding her down for a surprise love fest. The next day, Fujiko stalks Sai from a distance during outdoor mana control class. Sai, blissfully unaware of her, is more worried about finding a partner. Luckily for him, Hattori comes over to volunteer as his training partner, a fact which has him celebrating while grabbing her hands in relief. As the girl lights up with a tomato red blush from how much attention they're getting, she pulls back her hand and tells him Nurse Milf assigned her here since it's his first time. Naturally, the eternally freaky nurse comes over to make a joke about that sentence. After pushing her away, Hattori explains they'll be playing catch with mana balls to fine-tune their mana control. The trick is to minimize mana output, so they don't hurt their partner. Holding his ball, Sai tells Hattori he'd never hurt her, getting another blush. Ah, how wholesome. Huh. Well, hopefully Hattori didn't get hurt too badly. Well, yeah, I've got nothing. After that disaster, Sai gets a suggestion from Nurse Milf to train his self-control by training in some famous mental discipline chamber. In the back, Hiroshi pipes up about how people have died in that place since it can't be opened from the inside. Before he can fully scare Sai off, Nurse Milf nails him in the face with her shoe. Totally worth it. While providing a free look at her grippers, Nurse Milf tells Sai there's nothing to worry about. Besides, if he does die, she can just do her undead experiments on him. That night, Sai packs his bag for the chamber and realizes Kurone plans to come with him. Why? Because she thinks it'll be funny. So much for being there for his protection. Meanwhile, Fujiko's back in her secret lair, plotting more ways to enslave Sai. And of course, she's still not wearing anything, with head in a jar right there. As her brother comments on how evil she's grown, Fujiko thinks back to when he died. At his funeral, their mother revealed that he found something secret in the school ruins. Shortly after that, he died, and the government used undead magic on his corpse to interrogate him. However, he'd erased his own memories, so they couldn't learn anything. With the official story being that he fled his mission out of fear and got killed, their family name was tainted forever. Back over to the main duo, Sai and Kurone reach the isolation chamber and enter it. After getting inside, Sai tries to meditate, but finds it kind of hard thanks to Kurone's clinginess. I'll bet that's not the only thing that's hard either. When he tries to get her to back off, Kurone says she's doing it to ease his nerves and brings attention to her thighs. Unfortunately, Sai's a wimp in this regard and decides to back away. Fortunately, he bumps straight into an invisible Kina and proceeds to squeeze the crap out of her calcium cannons. No way he did that by accident. While Kina freaks out and drops the invisibility, we see Fujiko approaching the chamber outside. Kina explains she came to see if he needed a bento or something, but got locked in here by accident. Meanwhile, Fujiko starts monologuing like a cartoon villain, which she technically is. Using her latest drug, she'll shoot Sai through the door and leave him for a while so his head gets messed up. Then she'll show up to save him and earn his loyalty that way. Unknown to her, the idiot brigade inside is totally fine. Not only is Sai chilling with a babe on either side, but he even ends up finding a treasure map after accidentally cracking the wall. Sai's pretty neutral, but Kina goes on a whole rant about how this must lead to a pirate treasure at the end of an adventure. Never let her read One Piece. Desperate to actually train, Sai moves away and sits to meditate. Just one problem. Kina needs to pee now. And with her still being 99% undressed, it's even worse. Well, for her, it's great for us. With no other option, Sai offers a waterproof bag for her to go in, but Kina obviously refuses. Next, Kurone says she can convert any biomass into energy by consuming it and offers to do so. That is, she offers to drink Kina's forbidden lemonade. Jesus, even I'm not that freaky. With both her options being unacceptable, Kina starts freaking out and banging on the chamber's door to be let out. Outside, Fujiko mistakes this as Sai having already lost his mind inside. Thinking she'll be able to get Sai's loyalty by saving him already, she opens the door to emotionally seduce him. Instead, she's hit with the whirlwind that is Kina, as the redhead races off to the nearest bathroom. Though she's annoyed at first, Fujiko's eyes land on the map they found, and she freezes. Without saying another word, she grabs the thing and quickly leaves, confusing Sai. Throughout all this, Hattori's just been thinking of Sai in her room while wearing little more than underwear. Suddenly, she gets an encrypted text saying that a Teruya family member is making moves. At the same time, Fujiko takes the map to Ol Head in a jar and demands to know why it has his handwriting. Unfortunately, her brother genuinely doesn't remember. The next day, Fujiko's thinking about what's going on since an undead can only tell the truth. This is when she's approached by a green-haired student. Shockingly, This girl calls Fujiko out for her plan to enslave the demon lord, smirking the whole time. After confirming she's not a student, but has permission to be here, the girl asserts dominance, smirks, refuses to elaborate, and leaves. As the girl leaves, Fujiko notices a commotion and goes to see what's up. To her shock, she sees the map from last night plastered all over campus. She rushes to her secret room and finds that the map's been stolen. Instantly, she thinks this must be the work of Sai. Meanwhile, Sai and Kurone have discovered the maps as well, and think it could only have been done by Fujiko. After meeting up and heading outside to talk in private, the two throw blame at each other. Kurone breaks this up soon though, because she knows who actually did it. To be specific, it's the redhead who's literally pasting map copies on the school walls as they speak. Upon being questioned by Fujiko, Kina just starts rambling about how everyone should have the chance to find the pirate treasure. Man, she's lucky she's cute. Later, Sai's sitting in class, bored out of his mind, when another commotion occurs. Only this time it's caused by a bunch of injured students being brought in. The only thing on them? A bloodied copy of the map. Since they clearly got hurt while following the map, Sai speaks to the student council president about the situation. Since they can't just leave this as it is, she decides Sai should announce a ban on searching for the map's treasure. Since he's on the disciplinary committee, he has more authority to dole out punishments. That's why people will be more likely to listen to a warning from him. And if they're scared of him as the demon lord, well, that works too. Unfortunately, when Sai makes the announcement, the students are just outraged. They claim he made the map in the first place and seduced Kina to spread it around. Of course, the situation isn't helped by Hiroshi's professional glazer ass claiming this is all a test from Sai to recruit strong students. As the students start tossing trash at him, one particular girl rushes the stage directly. Not only does she destroy the dais, but she jumps at Sai's face full Videl style and leg locks it. With Sai quite literally breathing right on her coochie, the girl has to force herself back to a serious expression. After twisting herself around, the girl headlocks Sai and gives him a choice. If he really didn't make the map, he should prove it by following it and seeing if there's really any danger to it or not. That makes zero sense, but alright. Plot, I guess? After Sai agrees to do that as long as everyone else respects the ban, the girl finally lets go. Right before leaving, she introduces herself as Teruya Eiko and promises to tease him some more soon. Afterward, Sai meets with the council president, who tells him to just enter the location on the map and leave. Despite his desire to deal with the monsters there for student safety, she insists he should just do as she said. Though he accepts, Sai admits to Kurone that the exchange was pretty suspicious. As Sai prepares to head out for his task, he's surprised by Fujiko. The girl actually gives him a mana gun in case he can't control his magic. In return, he just has to make sure he finds the treasure. That evening, Sai heads out with Hiroshi and Kurone when another person drops on his head. Quite literally, Teruya's here. She clamps onto Sai and declares she's coming with them no matter what. Yeah, she's coming with Sai, all right. The whole way to the location on the map, she and Hiroshi argue about her being all over Sai. He couldn't be zestier if he tried. Upon finally reaching the first location marked on the map, they come upon an open staircase leading down. While the rest of them are confused by what can only be a crypt being here, Kurone grabs the map. After a quick analysis, she declares that this crypt is for Yamato Buichiro himself. Who? After going inside the crypt, the group discovers it holds the graves of those who fell in the last Great War. On top of that, there's also remains from a more recent battle. Meanwhile, Hattori tries to find Sai at the dorms and ends up at Kina's when she can't. Sleeping without a care in the world, in nothing but a shirt and some undies, Kina's slow to wake up. Once she does, though, she tells Hattori about how he's gone somewhere with Kurone, Hiroshi, and Teruya. As soon as she hears that last name, Hattori panics and decides they have to find them. Back in the crypt, the group finds themselves suddenly up against a tornado of black mana. After a ridiculously stupid attempt to cut the thing, Teruya gets slapped away. Somehow this causes most of her clothes to be ripped to shreds. Because plot. Well, not really, but why not? Reaching out to Sai, the injured Teruya tells him to avenge her and collapses. Angered by the loss of an ally, Sai switches from being neutral to actually mad at the tornado creature. Unseen by him, Teruya smirks at this since she's just tricking him into showing off some power. With a single shot of his mana gun, Sai blows apart the beast. As it disperses into bats for some reason, Teruya suddenly gets up and jumps on him, still devoid of any actual clothing. Clinging to him, She causes Sai to fall right in front of the grave they're looking for. After reaching into it, Sai and everyone else are surprised to find a toy voice recorder. Even stranger, it has instructions on where to go from here. Back at her lair, Fujiko's watching through her ball. And hey, she's got some clothes on for once. She recognized the toy as one she and her brother used to communicate back when he used to go on missions. Unfortunately, the girl's just left frustrated when she questions Head in a Jar, since he still doesn't remember anything. Fujiko's brought to tears by her brother's sorry state and her inability to learn what happened to him. At that moment, Kina suddenly appears in her lair, once again in her natural state, as an exhibitionist. Ever heard of knocking? As soon as she sees Sai and the others on the crystal ball, Kina turns to Fujiko. With zero answers about why she's here and wearing nothing, she tells Fujiko they should go after Sai. Fujiko realizes this is a chance to retrace her brother's steps directly and agrees to go with her. At the same time, Hattori's racing toward where Sai has gone. On the way, though, she falls into a trap and goes crashing into an underground pit. Over with the main group, they've just followed the toy's directions to an old knight research facility. Here, they end up fighting an animated suit of armor. This time, Hiroshi's the one who makes a stupid move and gets knocked out. Luckily, Sai jumps in and saves him before he can actually get really hurt. To everyone's surprise, the knight he knocked away actually leaves. Afterwards, Sai and Hiroshi have a moment of bonding over how the smaller boy wants to get stronger. Next, they find a phone in the facility with more instructions on where to go. Using these instructions and Korone's help, they find their way to a limestone cave. Inside, they find a hot spring with a path across under its wall. Without hesitation, Sai strips down and swims through. Unexpectedly, though, Teruya follows after him, stripped down even further than he is, and latches onto him as usual. Nearby, Hattori's chilling in the bath as well after falling directly into it. A commotion, she rushes over. In the meantime, Teruya flips around to Sai's front. Bro's boxers are the only thing standing between him and a lifetime of paying child support right now. Teruya tells Sai that whatever's at the end of this hunt is a relic of the previous Demon Lord. Just as she says this, Hattori finally reaches them. Without warning, the girl leaps into the air with her sword drawn back. Getting to see the girl in her full glory, Sai all but snorts out a fountain of blood. At the same time, Hattori realizes what she's just done and crashes into the water out of embarrassment. Quickly wrapping an arm around her tatas, Hattori stands and tells Sai that Teruya is an Imperial agent. Still clinging to him, Teruya admits she's here to test his potential to become the Demon Lord. When Hattori yells at her, the two end up in a knife fight. While they're busy with that, Sai spots a wolf coming to attack them. As it rushes their way, he jumps into action and punches it away. Then he blocks its jaws with his arm, only for the thing to fall unconscious. As things calm down, Teruya calls Sai out for choosing Hattori over her. When the hell did he grab her? And why is it by the tibbies? Angered by Sai's choice, Teruya rushes to the nearby hut, picks up the key at its door, tosses it at Sai, and runs outside. Geez, a bit salty there. Afterward, Hattori explains that Teruya's her rival, and Kina and Fujiko show up. Then they regroup with Hiroshi and wake Korone from where she's lying booty up after Teruya deactivated her. After sharing their info, Fujiko takes the key from Sai and twists it. Shockingly, this opens a teleportation circle that sends them all to another underground location. There, the student council members reveal themselves. They claim that all the trouble till now was all them, and this was just an elaborate fake hunt for fun. Yeah, and I'm Santa himself. The president tries to distract everyone by offering Sai a kiss as a reward, but Fujiko doesn't care. So close to the truth, she rushes past them and tosses a bomb to keep them away. Sai tries to go after her, but is stopped by the student prez. She explains that this place is the former Demon Lord's base, and if he goes through and touches the relic, he'll be confirmed as the Demon Lord. In the meantime, Fujiko reaches the base's entrance and uses the clues left by her brother to activate it. Shocking everyone, the roof of the structure is blown off. As the dust clears up, it's revealed the relic hidden here is a titanic dragon, the familiar of the Demon Lord. It recognizes Fujiko as the one who woke it and tells her she must prove her worth. Seeing it attack Fujiko, Sai rushes forward, but is stopped by the president again. As she warns him that going forward will confirm his Demon Lord status, Sai struggles with what to do. Just then, Kina flies his way and yells at him to think of Fujiko's feelings. With this yell, Kina somehow activates a memory stored within the dragon and shows it to everyone. All those years ago, Fujiko's brother was contracted to find this place and destroy the Demon Lord's relic. Also, a new Demon Lord couldn't use it. Instead, he found out his employer actually wanted the relic himself, so he erased his own memories of the place. That way, nobody would find it. As Fujiko breaks down in tears upon finally learning the truth, Sai makes his choice. He tells Kurone to flee with Hiroshi for his safety and marches forward. The president tries to stop him, but Sai's mind is made up. As a last resort, the president attacks him with her powers, stealing Luffy's whole flow in the process. Refusing to back down, though, Sai suddenly awakens a new power, causing his eyes to redden. Realizing she can't stop him anymore, the president just smiles while Sai rushes to the dragon. Sai quickly smashes away the dragon's attack to save Fujiko, and the two face off. Though the dragon's amused, it's also happy to see such a powerful Demon Lord candidate. What follows is an epic, if short, battle where Sai trades blows with the dragon. Eventually, though, he comes out on top with a final jab. Both fighters collapse from exhaustion. Facing each other on the ground, they exchange names, and the dragon tells Sai he's its new master. With the information that he's now the new Demon Lord, Sai suddenly finds himself being fawned over by Fujiko. As he runs to escape her, he's instead caught by the president, who finally gives him that kiss she promised earlier. Bro is swimming in tail. After things calm down, Peterhausen, the dragon tells Sai he must now live here in his official lair. To commemorate this move, Sai and his harem have a picture taken with him on his throne. Yes, Hiroshi is part of the harem. How progressive. The end. Watch this next video. Until next time, my fellow legendary harem masters.